Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Megan. I'm with Craftsmith, and I'm going to be teaching your class today. And just like she said, please, if you craft along today or if you make this project later when you watch this video on YouTube, tag Michaels, tag Craftsmith as well. We are at Craftsmith Co. on Instagram. And the Michaels hashtag is Make It With Michaels and Michaels Classes. So you tuned in today probably because Father's Day is coming. So we are making today a gift for Dad. It's really simple. All ages can do this. It's a little Father's Day activity keepsake jar and a set of activity cards to go inside the jar. You can make one or the other, you can make both, and of course you can make any customizations you want. I'm going to show you how to do this way today, but if you find a different color scheme you love, if you come up with some really cool variations that I haven't thought of, please do that. I love to see unique ideas that you guys come up with. It's so much fun. My jar I also customized with a photo on top, so I highly encourage you to do that as well. You'll see this closer in a little bit, but that is vintage photo of actually me and my older brother and my dad. So if you have any photo, you can put it somewhere in your jar. I'll show you how. And if we can switch views, I will go ahead and get started walking you through this. Oh, my view did not change. All right, I'm just going to assume it switched. My front monitor didn't switch. Okay, so the pad I am using today is going to be our summer road trip pad. This pad right now, I believe it's in stores. It was online. I think it's sold out currently online, but you should be able to go find it. This is a really cool pad for summer. So you can see it's got a lot of things that you could come up with. The pages we are going to use today, I'll go through, but our activity jar here, if you got the same style I did, you're starting with a blank canvas like this. The first thing I'm going to show you how to do is we're going to take this lid off because this is a glass jar. And it's going to be a heck of a lot easier for us to make sure we don't break that lid as we're crafting if we can get it off. So if you could see, I flipped it up. These at the back just squeeze and you can get them right off. So just be careful with that, set it aside. If you need to, you can even peel this off, but I don't think we need to do that today. And we're just going to set these aside. All right, so we don't have to take this part off. This is totally fine. It's not going to really get in our way. We can just flip that up if we have to. I do recommend if you have labels on here that you try to get these off, just because it will make everything that we're going to stick on here a lot easier to stick on here. If you're using a different size or style jar than I am, that's totally fine. If it's a smaller jar, you may have to resize your activity cards and change your dimensions a little bit on what we're going to do, but really any jar works for this. I just really like this because after you make everything and use it for Father's Day, if Dad wants to keep this and store something else in it, he totally can. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create the band that's going on the outside of our jar here. I always recommend if you're using an adhesive, we want to start with the part that's going to take the longest to dry. Since glass is not porous, it's going to take a little bit longer to dry. So that's why we're going to start with that first. So I used this really cool kind of barbecue themed road trip print from this pad. But if there is another print you really like, go for that. So I'm going to be using this sheet, pulling that right out. I almost went with this cactus sheet here because that is just so cool and foiled, but talked myself out of it. You need to figure out the dimensions on your jar. One of the reasons I like this jar so much is it has some flat sides, which is going to make it really easy to adhere to. Anytime you're going over something round, it just starts to get a little bit more, it can start to bunch and bend. So the fact that this has some flatter sides with only a little bit of a curve, that's a really nice advantage to this jar, which is one reason I like it. But as you can see on this jar, it does get curved through here. So we want to take a measurement to figure out our band of the size of the flat portion of the jar. So I know what it is already because I already did it, but I'm going to do it on camera so you can see it. If you were using a different size jar, just size it for your jar. So get your ruler out. So the side of my jar, starting right here where this curve starts, to the bottom is 4 inches. So I want to make it a little bit smaller than that, because if I try to flatten the paper over these curved edges at the bottom, I'm going to get those crinkles I was talking about. I don't want. So if you notice on my jar, I made it a little bit smaller. So if this is 4 inches, I'm going to do my paper. I'm going to cut that 3.5 inches tall. That way I get a little bit of leeway and I don't have to worry about trying to get my flat straight paper over a curved circular edge. Now this pattern isn't super directional, but you do want to be mindful. If I cut it this way to get my strip, this is a 12 by 12 square, so technically I can cut it however I want, but if I cut it this way and then put it on my jar, it's kind of sideways. I don't really want it to be sideways. I want it to be straight up and down. So I'm going to turn my paper this way. If you have a really cool paper cutter like this, feel free to use it. You can also just, of course, use a pencil and a ruler and mark your 4-inch line and go some scissors, or 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches is what I'm doing. Okay, so I've got that lined up at just about 3.5 inches, you can see. Slice right down. Yep, same width. The problem with this though, and I discovered this when I made my original, my jar is bigger than 12 inches. So we're gonna have to cut a panel to go in the back there, which luckily is not gonna be that big. I'm just going to measure a side, do a little bit extra. So I'm going to cut one more strip of my 3.5 inches. So one more time, you're doing a second strip that's 3.5 inches if you're using a jar as big as mine. Set this aside. And we just kind of need it to cover one side. If you really want to, you can just, if you have a gap, you can hold it up like I am, kind of put your finger there and figure out that, okay, where my finger is where I need to cut. But I'm gonna use a ruler. So I know I need to cover a little more than one side. The flat portion of the side here, it's about 3.5 inches. So I'm gonna cut this anywhere between 4 and 5 inches. I think I'm good with 4. We'll find out shortly. But my tip to you is going to be, when we glue this panel in, put it in the back. I'm also, wherever this is the front of your jar. So since I want to hide my seam in the back, I'm just going to kind of move that around so it's centered in the front. And now we've got that in the back. Today I'm using Mod Podge because Mod Podge is just like so useful for pretty much anything you want to adhere to any crafting surface. It's amazing. I use it for a lot. So make sure you have some paper towels on hand whenever you use Mod Podge. It does get a little bit messy if you're helping any little ones do this. They can totally do it. Just keep in mind, just like using, regular white glue, you're gonna get stuff all over your fingers. Anything you touch, it's going to be kind of messy. I use it directly out of the container. Sometimes you can pour it in another container that's smaller and easier to hold and use it I'm just not today. I forgot to grab something to protect my surface. So I'm gonna use paper towel. And just dip it right in my Mod Podge and go right onto your paper. You can apply it to the glass directly, but you're going to, and this is just a regular bristle brush. It really doesn't make a difference what kind of brush you use for this. To be quite honest, I've used my fingers before. It's just really messy. All right, so you're gonna apply it direct to your paper and then apply this to the jar. So I'm kind of putting it where I want it to be. I want it to be as even as I can possibly get it. So hopefully it's not slanted. See, I have a little bit extra. My biggest thing is I'm gonna take my hand and push that down to get us over the edges. And remember, this is the back. So if you end up a little uneven, it's far less noticeable. I understand the urge to not want to be uneven, but if it happens, it happens. And the nice thing about the Mod Podge and the paper, since it is going to take a few minutes to dry, you can kind of get it on there and then adjust it a little bit. So you can see it kind of like wiggles until it's dry. And it does dry clear. So even though you're gonna end up with a little bit of extra glue places, I mean, you'll see it a little bit in your finished one. I don't know if you can see it on here, but it really does blend in with the glass, which is nice. But you can use a paper towel and kind of wipe off when there's too much excess. There you go. You see how I kind of got that to like conform to my edges just by pushing it down with my hand. But if I went too far down, there'd just be too many angles. All right. Now we got to do our big piece. So one more time. And Mod Podge and double-sided tape are the only adhesives I'm using today. My Mod Podge, I'm now realizing, is a little bit thick. It's a little bit old. So you might have a little bit easier time spreading it than I do. But it'll work regardless, even if you've got Mod Podge. That's a little bit old. There's a lot of finishes for Mod Podge. I believe I'm using the gloss. It really doesn't super matter because I'm not going to put it on the outside. But pretty much any Mod Podge uses. If you want to, like, you can seal everything with Mod Podge as well, which just means putting a coat on the outside when you're all done. You don't have to do that, but if you do, that's where the finish of the Mod Podge really becomes important, because I know they have a gloss and a matte and a few other ones. And obviously, if you have a real preference, you want it to be matte, then you're gonna need to make sure you have that one. All right, so we've got our big paper. It is all glued up. I'm gonna kind of not line it up perfectly with that edge, just because I wanna hide my seam, but I am gonna try to line it up vertically so that it's not going over the edge, because I'm gonna hope that's gonna keep it even as I roll it on. So now I'm literally just gonna kind of roll it on. This is honestly, it's not that hard, but it might be the hardest part of our project today, just because you've got to kind of use your hand and roll. So if you're helping a tiny one make this for Father's Day, you will probably have to help with this part, because it probably will require multiple hands, especially since this is glass. All right, you can see I'm just rolling my hand right over it. And honestly, it matched up pretty well. Ah, I slid it though. Remember how I mentioned it would slide? There we go, and I just slid it right back. And I'm gonna use the paper towel again to wipe off my excess glue. And also, I don't think I have any air bubbles. That usually doesn't happen to me when I use Mod Podge, but I'm gonna go over it just in case. You can see I have my seam. It's hidden in the back. You can't even tell it's there. I mean, you could do something cool if you wanted and flip your seam to the front and make that a contrast, but we're using that circle instead. So I'm gonna set that aside for a moment and let it dry while we work on the next parts of our project. So we've got a lot of circles in today's project. We've got this one here, we've got the lid up here, we've got the photo here. We're gonna start making those. My favorite circle stencil is this guy here by Fiskars, just because it's got so many sizes and it actually labels, I don't know if you can tell, but it labels next to each circle how big it is, so you don't have to do a lot of math. This geometry is fun, but you don't always want to do it while you're crafting. All right, so I chose this like cool green and brown plaid because I thought the color scheme went well with our kind of barbecue theme here. If you don't like it, you can choose a different pattern, or if you're obviously using a different color scheme, you'll have to choose something that coordinates. But I'm gonna choose this paper again, and I used the same paper here as I did behind my photograph. So let's find that plaid. Oh, it's right there. Whenever you are going to draw on your patterned papers, I always recommend to flip it over and use the wrong side. That way, if you make a mistake, it's not going to show in your craft. Mistakes are fine, natural, everyone makes them. So just, you know, you have a chance to make it on the back where no one will know it ever happened. A mistake is just a learning opportunity. Okay, I need, if you're using my size jar, this is a 3-inch circle. The photo is a 3-inch circle. And then I'll show you how we did the little outline here, because as you can see, it's just a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna find my 3-inch circle on here, which is this one in the corner for me. Just draw it right on. And I'm gonna try to make all my circles at once. So remember I told you didn't need to take this off? I forgot that you do. So just pull the seal right off. To get the correct size for behind our photo, we're gonna use this as our stencil. So flip it over. The problem here becomes you have 2 lips. So you've got to get your pencil or your pen in here underneath the lip, kind of at an angle, so you can trace that if you want to do this the easy way. The hard way would be basically gluing it on and then cutting around it. We don't want to do the hard way. I can tell my lid slipped there. If you see, it's kind of a messy, lopsided circle. So I'm going to try one more time. That's much closer to a decent circle. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that one out. It's a little bit bigger than this one. You have to, you know, keep track. That way you're not gonna accidentally glue the wrong one in the wrong place. I'm actually gonna go ahead and mark an L in it for lid. That way I don't forget. And then this one is our front circle. Since this circle is going on the front, it will be super obvious if you accidentally make it lopsided. So that's why I'm just taking a little bit of time to cut it out. Because the plaid will hide some of the imperfections just because it's a nice busy pattern, but it's still kind of the focal point of the piece. Now, one thing I thought of after I made this, obviously I put Dad on the front of my jar. If you wanted to, you could switch it. You could put the photograph on the front of the jar and put this on the top of the jar. If you do that, you're just gonna have to, you know, size this differently. You know, you would use this, put your dad on there, and then make a slightly bigger circle for here. But like I said, you can customize this however you want. I just kind of liked the photo on top because that way when it's sitting there, you know, whenever he walks by to open it, he sees the photo. But there is my circle that matches this guy. And I'm gonna try to just by hand kind of, because you can see it's not really a perfect circle. So I'm gonna kind of try by hand to fix this. Don't know how successful I'll be, but I mean, if you kind of get a good angle on, you can smooth things out if you go slow. Putting the band on the outside and then attempting to trace the lid are probably the two hardest parts of this project. And I mean, that's not saying a lot because it's not that hard. So that's why I like this project. You get a lot of bang for your buck, and it's honestly more fun than hard. Okay. So again, because I talked about how glass is not porous, so it's going to take the longest to dry, we want to go ahead and put that on our lid. So you can see I did a pretty good job of sizing that to my lid. So we're going to grab our Mod Podge and our brush again. Yeah, mine is really thick. Should have tried thinning it out. All right. And this is also nice where it's can be moved around because I'm just going to get it on there. And then you can kind of move it to get it better inside that circle. See? So what you're seeing here is that outside lip that our metal piece folds onto. And I'll show you how to reassemble the lip too. Okay. All right, don't want my brush to fall in my Mod Podge. That has happened before. It's really gross. Okay. So that's my front. The other thing, like I mentioned, that we want to cut out in a circle is our photo. I brought some options with me today just so I could show you guys the difference in how to crop a photo, because there is a photo that will look good cropped out and then a photo that's not going to look great cropped out. So we are using 3 inches for our photo. You can make it smaller if you want to, or obviously if you have different size lid, you're gonna have to change your measurements again. But so we're going back to this one, which is the same exact size we used for that. So I've brought a bunch of photos with me. You can see I already cropped this one of my dad with his oldest grandson and a puppy, his puppy. It's an okay photo cropped out, but you can't really focus on anybody, so that's not a great choice. I also, 2 of my dad's fur babies, two of his puppies, well, former puppies. You can see how when I go to crop that one out, we're gonna lose things. So that's the kind of stuff you wanna look for, is what are you gonna lose? This one was a really good option for me because as you can see my adorable little self in a Santa hat and still see my older brother making a funny face and my dad there with his lovely 80s hair and sweatshirt and glasses. But I think today, because I'm feeling guilty that my little brother is not in this photograph, I'm gonna use a photo of my dad's new puppy, which is actually his Father's Day gift. So this is Scooter, and I printed it at 2 sizes so you can see the difference when we crop it. I'm just gonna show you one here, but if I crop this one at this size, see how much of that I'm still seeing? This, which I believe this is 4 inches tall, and this one is about 5.5. The 5.5-inch photo, if I crop it, we're getting a nice close-up of Scooter. So both of them work, but You just have to decide which one you want. I think I actually like the close-up. So I'm gonna go with the close-up. This is the one exception to flipping it onto the back to trace it and cut it out, because I wanna make sure I get this really centered and I can't see through this paper. I just printed these, by the way, on a nice high quality printer. You can get photo prints made just about anywhere. I used to get them made at Target all the time. Costco, of course, makes them. But if you've got a decent printer, or even just want to print something, you know, at a copy place, you totally can. This is just regular, standard, I think it's slightly glossy paper, but it's not photo paper, and I printed it. So, all right, so he's kind of centered there. We can see him. There we go. So since this is going to be the top of my jar, I want to try to cut out all of my pencil line. I refer to my dad as a dog dad, because he, like we all grew up, and his pets definitely became, even though he'll deny it, his children. So now that he is getting a new puppy, the cycle is starting all over again. If you do use a pencil and you can't quite get all of this cut off, you can, of course, very gently erase. I'm always more gentle with anything I do on top of a photograph, just because it's much easier to mess up. But you can still get a little bit off. Okay, but you see, I did a pretty good job of getting my pencil lines off. So I think I'm good. That is the last time we're going to use our circle stencil today. All right. So we are, one more time, going to use our Mod Podge. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to keep doing my photo on my lid. So you probably know this routine by now. And this is a circle, so we don't have to worry about right side up yet. As long as you're using the style of jar I was, right side up doesn't make a difference. And if you have any questions as I'm doing things today, just drop them in the chat. My coworker Emily can answer questions, or if I see them pop up in the chat window, sometimes I'm able to as well. But all questions, just direct towards Emily in the chat, and she can give you a hand or get my attention. All right, so again, we can move this around so we can kind of center him. It's easier for me to center him down here, so I'm gonna center him and then I'll lift it up and show you. But use your paper towel to just kind of smooth him out. This is where in the process you might get air bubbles, because the paper on top of the paper sometimes will do that. But I don't think I have any. And you can see I just kind of centered him nicely on that little ring there. So he looks nice and cute. Okay. We are going to go ahead and attach that to the front so it can dry before we put our stickers on. So this is actually our last bit for the Mod Podge, and we're going to let this dry a little bit. So take your front, your 3-inch circle. Always have paper towels around when you use Mod Podge, because you are going to get stuff all over your fingers no matter how hard you try. But luckily it is water soluble, so you can just wash it right off. All right, so this part with the little clasp, I don't know what to call it, that is your front. So I centered mine on the jar already, so I'm going to kind of use that as where to center this. And again, just use your hand if you've got a big enough hand. Just kind of push it down in one motion. And then I'll use my paper towel to clean up the extra glue. You do want to rub gently because it can, as you've seen, things with Mod Podge slide until they're dry, which is handy, but also if you get it perfectly positioned and then it slides, you got to fix it. All right, so there we go. We've got this put on. Our jar is looking pretty good. We've got these going. So while that dries a little bit more, I'm going to show you how to make some of the activity cards. Okay, so if you signed up for this class, you probably saw there was a download so that you could print these out. These are just some fun activities I made to do with Dad. If you don't like these, you don't have to use these. You can make your own activity things for Dad. That can be fun too. After all, you know your dad best. You know what he would like. You could turn this entire jar into a dad joke jar if you wanted to, you know, and pull out different jokes. I did have fun thoughts. There are like cool little sections in here if you wanted to just grab something and write maybe memories with Dad, or if you didn't want to make the cards as fancy as I am, we have got a page in this pad that is perfect, if I can find it. Here we go. This page right here has all kinds of little tiny sections you could cut out and turn those into your activity cards if you wanted to handwrite them. So you wouldn't have to do what I'm about to do. But we're going to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to show you my cards a little bit, and then we're going to make a few. There are 12 of these, I think, 12 of my printouts. I made mine in advance. I used 3 different papers, as you can see. I just chose to go with the plaid theme. So flip them over so you can see. So I chose 3 different plaids. And I was real extra. I decided to front and back my cards, you can see. If you only want to make a front, you can. I just really liked the look of them in the jar stacked up like that. So I did both. But these are really simple. They're real cute. You can customize them however you want. No 2 cards of mine did I decorate the same. You can see. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And choose any pattern you like. I'm going to go with this one because it's right in the front. Like I said, it's your choice how many patterns you use. I used 3 plaids, so that's 3 different pages. You do not need a whole page for the cards if you're doing more than one pattern. So choose your patterns and either grab your scissors or grab your paper cutter. And we're going to line these up to cut. I'm only going to show you a few today because the process for the cards is really, really just the same. I'm not sure I'm doing the best job keeping them straight as I cut it out, but that's okay. It's easier for me personally to use the paper cutter when I'm standing up looking down at it, but today I'm seated. All right. I got these 3 cut out, so these are the 3 I'm going to show you today. The process, like I said, for I moved the paper cutter and I need it. The process for all of the cards is exactly the same. If you are using 3 patterns like I did, that means you are going to do 4 cards each pattern. I don't know why that math was hard. All right, so you get your little square of your activity cut out. I believe these are 2.5 inches, but I'm going to verify that. Yes, so they're just about 2.5 inches if you've cut them out accurately. I think I was a little lopsided when I did this. We want this to be a little bit bigger so that we get our nice border like this shows. I'm big on like the borders. I like adding little patterned cute thing. So if this is 2.5 inches, this square, I'll show you a different one so it shows up. This square is 3 inches. And we need, if you're doing front and back like I am, you're gonna need 2 squares per card. So for 3 inches, sorry, things getting in the way of my paper because the 12-inch piece of paper is big. All right, so I've got that lined up with my 3. If you're good at math, you can just go down. Use your division table or subtraction. All right, I'm just going to show you 2 today, actually, because that's how many I got out of 12 inches. All right, so I have 4 pieces. I'm going to show you 2 cards. Those 2 look pretty good. Now I have a giant double tape, refillable, double-sided tape dispenser. Obviously, you don't need that. You just need the double-sided tape or whatever adhesive you want to use. A glue runner would work great. You could use your Mod Podge for this, but it's going to be unnecessarily messy. So I don't know if I recommend that. I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. It's white on white. I think you can see enough. Okay. So I'm just going to lay my double-sided tape down on one of the squares. This is the plaid square. And then I'm going to make a sandwich. So I've got double-sided tape on my plaid square. I'm going to line that up. Press it down. And now we've got our little sandwich. If, like me, you realize you have a little bit extra white there, if it's gonna bug you, literally, you can just trim it off. And that's what I'm gonna do. Got a little bit here, which either means I wasn't perfect cutting out the size of my squares, or more likely that I just kind of didn't line them up perfectly, but that's a real easy mistake to hide. You can now see, I don't see any white sticking out of any of the sides of my squares. And we'll do that one more time. Yes, that's my blank one. All right, so we're gonna line that up again. I usually just try to line up a corner. I can tell the one I'm putting it on is big. All right, so you see I've got a big white chunk over here. So I'm gonna take that off. Because since I, made these bigger than our little activity portions, it's gonna be real easy, or it would be real hard for me to cut this down so much that it would suddenly be smaller than my activity. I would have to make a giant mistake cutting for that to happen. And if you do, it's fine. Just cut out another one. But all right, so now I've got 2 little double-sided squares to turn into activity cards. And this is the process you are going to repeat over and over again until you get 12 cards that you're happy with. I'm looking at it now, I definitely did not make that nice and even. So we're going to try to even, eyeball it. That's a little bit better. Okay. So same process, double-sided tape on the back of your activity. And I highly encourage you to personalize these and make activities that'll work for your dad. Just center it as best you can on the square. There you go. There's a basic card that we haven't embellished yet. right, so we've got 2 basic cards. This is the process you're going to repeat for 12 cards in whatever patterned paper you wish. So you have 12 activities. To embellish my cards, I use stickers and washi tape. I'm just going to lay mine out to show you. I feel like I'm dealing cards here. So you can see no 2 of my cards are the same. I used to decorate mine. I used our little 99-cent sticker sheets. This cool camping themed one that I thought went really well with our paper pad. You can see that, how adorable it is. And I just really loved how these glitter stars and thought they kind of coordinated. And then we have an awesome washi set here, the rainbow solids that you can get at the store. I know it's probably online as well. I don't know if these are. But I love this set of washi because you have so many colors. And you can see some of these I adorned with just stickers. Some of these I thought it was kind of fun to add a little bit of washi. Some of them I got real extra and did a lot of stickers on. So you can really just do whatever you want with these. Have fun, personalize them, totally just make them yours. And you can, if you're crafting along with us today, I do recommend just wait until the end to do all 12 cards because that's going to get really repetitive. You can, you know, either pause the video and do it if you're watching on YouTube, or just do it afterwards because you're going to totally remember how to do that. All right, so we've only got a couple more embellishments before we reassemble our jar. So you can see this orange seal I put right here, that is washi tape. So we are going to do that now. You can choose any color from this wonderful pack that coordinates with your paper choice. I chose orange just so I had something that popped out over the blue. Debating if I'm going to do the same thing today. The orange I chose was this one because it kind of goes to the barbecue and all of that. I think I actually today might go ahead and use the green. I would love to use the red because red is one of my dad's favorite colors, but as you can see, there's just not really much red in this pattern. So adding the red in just looks a little odd. So today I'm going to use this nice green because there is a lot of green in this pattern and I think it'll coordinate nicely. But if you want to do it like my example, I used that orange right there. Again, so many colors in this. Feel free to make your own choice. Use a color that you know is your dad's favorite color, whatever you want to do. The nice thing about washi tape is it's super moldable. It'll go over pretty much any surface you want to put it on without fighting you a lot. And it's easy to cut. Usually it'll just tear. So this lip right here, that's where we're going to do it. Literally where your jar seals. So we're going to line it up. You can't super see right there, but right about there. I have to do it down here so I can see it. I'll hold it up afterwards. And I'm not going to tear this off yet. I'm just literally going to start it back by the joint here. And very carefully follow the lip around. The hardest part will be getting over your little deal there, but that's, you know, still not that hard. When you get to the end, you can cut or just pull like that. If you pull, make sure you're holding down with your finger. And then I'm going to smooth it over again. You can kind of see I've got a little extra here. So as I smooth this down with my finger, I'm also going to go around and just push it over the lip of the jar. If you're using like a glitter washi tape or something, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to bend the way I'm doing it over the lip, just because it's got a little bit more heft to it. It's a little sturdier. This is super, super moldable. All right, but you can see I've now got, oops, I just flipped it up with my finger. I've now got this cool little just green accent around the lid of my jar. You could, of course, add washi accent anywhere else you wanted to on the jar as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble my jar before we put our stickers on the front. All right, so you should have 3 pieces to reassemble your jar. You've got your little stopper ring here, your metal part, and your little glass lid itself. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put this back on. I'm not entirely sure how jars like this work, but I'm pretty sure this little lip part goes in the front. So I think, I have to look at my photo again. I think I faced it so the front is toward me. Oh, see, I'm a little bit off. So I'm just gonna slide it because I want Scooter looking at my dad. So that's front. Got that down there. All right. We're gonna take this. There is this divot in your jar lid between here and the top. That's where the little metal part goes. So I'm gonna rest my lid here because it's easier. You're gonna fit that in, squeeze the back. Might be easier if you take the jar lid off. Again, if little ones are doing this, this part might need a little bit of supervision. You're gonna have to get your little points here onto there. So you're just gonna squeeze and do that. As soon as you have it on, let go, and it'll spring back. And our jar is attached. And then we can seal our jar again. There we go. We've got a jar. I think my plastic seal is a little off, but that's something I did. I'll figure that out. Oh, there we go. Now it's better. All right. So obviously, this is for Dad. It could be for anyone though. If it's, you want to make it for grandpa, another relative, if you want to make, add the personalization, however, you may not call your dad Dad. What I called my grandpa Papa. So technically, if I was making this for him, that is definitely what I would want to put on front, not Dad. So you make your choice about what you want to put on the front. I am going to be using these cool 3D gold stickers. You can tell we've used a few already. And I'm actually going to change what I'm going to put on the front because, my dad is a grandpa now and he's got his fur babies. He's a dog dad. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put his new dog's name on the front or part of it. I don't think I can fit Scooter, so I'm going to call him Scoot. So S-C-O-O-T. So just like you were with Dad, good with Dad, I started with my 2 outside letters, so my 2 D's, and then centered my A in the middle because that's easier than getting your spacing messed up. So I'm kind of finding vertical this way, or my halfway point this way, which I think is about there. It's about there. I'm going to put my S down because that's my first. And I need a T if I'm calling him Scoot. My T is going to get lined up at the end. You can go bigger than the circle if you need to. Like if you want to fit the whole word grandpa, you're probably going to need to go bigger. That is totally fine. It's totally up to you. Or you can figure out how to break it up on 2 lines. However you want to do this. All right, so I've got an S and a T. So obviously Dad is D-A-D or D-A-D-D-Y. So I've got an SC. I'm working towards the center. And if you don't push it down super hard, you can move it. So now I need 2 O's. Notice I haven't really pushed down these yet because I want to be able to move them around. Oh, I actually think I did pretty good on my spacing. So I can have a scoot. All right. So my dad will appreciate that his puppy gets a new little treat jar. Obviously, the way we sized these cards, they can go right inside the jar like that. And then when you are ready to pick an activity to do with dad, or dad's going to pick an activity to do to the day, you just reach right out. Oh, time for a picnic. So that is how easy this Father's Day craft is, and it looks super adorable. You can personalize it however you want. Can we go back to front facing? So you can personalize it however you want. You can use totally different patterns, totally different colors, whatever you want to do. This is going to be an adorable Father's Day gift, or even just birthday or fun gift. You could turn this really easy into a family activity jar if you wanted to. So whatever ideas you have, please use them. We love to see how creative you are. If you have any questions, it's last chance to let me and Emily know so we can answer them for you. So drop them into the chat box if you have them. Again, we are Craftsmith Co. My name is Megan, or you can find us on Instagram at Craftsmith Co. On Facebook too. Please tag us. We would love to see what you make, especially if you give this to Dad on Father's Day. We'd love to see his reaction. And this will be available on YouTube within 24 to 48 hours. That way, if you need instructions, you can craft along again. And I'm excited to see what you guys make. So I don't see that anyone has any questions popping up for me. So if we are all good today, happy early Father's Day and happy crafting. Have fun, you guys, and we will see you soon.